Hi, I'm standing in the plains of northern Serbia, about 25 miles north of Belgrade, the capital, 1,300 miles from London. Over in that direction, if I walked far enough, I'd get to the country of Hungary. Round there and here is Bulgaria and Romania. If I headed south, I'd get to Macedonia and Albania. Further around to the west is Montenegro, Bosnia. Croatia is off to the west over there, Slovenia. And the building behind me is the place that I've come to teach at this week. This is the home of the Christian Trust of Belgrade, which among other things runs the Belgrade Bible School. This is a 2-year program in biblical teaching and theology, and the students on this course come from all those countries that I mentioned earlier and a few others. 20 or 30 years ago, those countries were torn apart by war and conflict. And yet here in the Bible school, the students from those countries come together. They come because they want to learn more of the scriptures, they want to be better equipped to teach in their churches and to serve in their churches. And you have people sitting at the desks in there whose families would have been firing machine guns and shells at each other on the streets of the cities of those countries in decades past. I'm going to take this opportunity while I'm here to have a look around and to show you around. So let's go inside and take a look. I'm standing in the main administrative offices of the Bible School, and this has been the scene of a minor miracle in the last couple of decades. In the 20 years since the Bible School opened, over 350 students have made their way through the course, and none of them have had to pay a single penny in fees. That's a good job actually, because almost none of them could have afforded it, coming as they do from fairly poor backgrounds. So how is it possible? How is it possible to take 350 students through a Bible training course, a full-time, residential, 2-year theological and biblical training course, without having to charge them anything? Well, the answer's simple: you cut costs. Everywhere around you see costs are kept to a minimum. The place is functional, but not glamorous. You go down to the kitchens, the food is fine, but again, it's not expensive, it's simple food. The cleaning is all done by the students. There are no cleaning staff to keep the place tidy. The students do it themselves. And there's one other way in which costs have been cut. There are no teaching staff in the Bible school. The teaching is provided by people like you, sending people like me from Europe, the UK, the United States, from Serbia, from other places. Churches and Christian organisations and mission organisations providing the teaching for the Bible school, on which the Bible school depends, so that it can give the students that theological training that they need. In other words, there are now 350 trained missionaries, pastors, church workers, church members all across the Balkan region, and it has been possible because of the generosity of churches outside of this country, elsewhere in the world. I've heard it said that you can learn a lot about people by looking at their books. And so I've come here to the library in the Bible school to see what we can find out about the students here and about the church in the broader Balkan region. The first thing you notice, this entire wall of the library is floor-to-ceiling biblical commentaries, which tells you something about the priorities of the Bible school here. This is about 1/4 of the collection, it's just Bible stuff. And I recognise many of the books myself. They're the sort of book that you find in a good quality British theological library. They're all donated, of course, and they're all written in English. Alongside that, you've got some other classic English theological works. This is one of the volumes of John Owen's collected works. The other 15 or so volumes around the corner here, there's about this many of them. Alongside that, then there's also some other classics. This is the 2-volume edition of Calvin's Institutes of the Christian Religion, certainly one of the most influential texts to come out of the Reformation period on the continent. And more recently, here's one of the 4 volumes of John Murray's collected writings. The other 3 are up here. So there are some great high-quality theological texts here. But there's a problem. All of these are written in English. And I have to tell you, as somebody who's had to read some of this stuff, as a native English speaker, some of this kind of thing is tricky. I can only imagine how difficult it must be for somebody whose second or third language is English to wade through this. So what's the solution? How do you make good theology accessible to people who might not read or speak English terribly well? Well, here's one solution. You translate it. Here is a Serbian translation of a commentary by J.C. Ryle, a British bishop, on the Gospel of Luke. J.C. Ryle lived a couple hundred years ago, and this is one of his commentaries on Luke. There's a couple more down there. So there's one solution. You can translate theological texts into Serbian. But if you look around the library, you find there is not much in the way of Serbian theological literature written by Serbians. And this highlights one of the great problems. At this stage of the life of the church in this country, it's relying very heavily on imported theology, which is fine and is a blessing, I think. And yet at the same time, in order for the church to become self-sustaining in the next 50, 100, 500 years, it will need to produce its own theologians. That's one of the challenges for the young men and women here. Who are going to be the next generation of Serbian theologians? Now you might think that there are resources already in the Serbian language, theological resources, because there is a church in Serbia. There has been a Serbian Orthodox church in this country for many years. So why are there not biblical commentaries and useful theological texts coming from that tradition that could inform and resource the teaching here at Hub? The tragedy is that the Serbian Orthodox Church, frankly, is not terribly concerned about the Bible. Some of the students realise this for the first time when they pick up a Bible for themselves and are astonished to find what's in it, and they embrace the teachings of the Scripture, and their families and the people in their churches think they've gone crazy. So the tragedy of the Serbian Orthodox Church in this country is that it has drifted so far from the Bible that the guys here at the Bible school really feel like they're building from the ground up again. And that will be one of the challenges for them in the coming generations. Okay, so here is the main classroom. This is where I've been teaching for the last 2 days. It's Tuesday evening now, and these are some of my notes from earlier. So typically what I'll do is I'm standing here and talking, and the translator, Tanya or Yelena, will write stuff on the board. So Doctrina Trojstva, that means Doctrine of the Trinity, and that's what I was teaching earlier today. And here are the desks. You've got, actually there's quite a small class of students. This is just the first year students, and there are around about 12 or so in the first year and about 8 or 10 in the second year. So that's one classroom. Here's next class. It's not really a classroom, this is more of a social area. There's a pinball, a table football machine here. These desks are piled up here because they were in that room. I'll show you that in a second. And here's just an area people sort of sit around and play the guitar and just relax a little bit. So this little middle area, these doors, they just open up. And this, in the morning, will be chapel. So tomorrow morning, you can see people will be sitting in the chairs here, and I'll show you some video of chapel, and one of the students each day will give a short talk from the Bible. They'll sing, they'll pray, and then after chapel, this will all be turned back into a classroom. So there are 2 teachers here this week. I'm teaching down the bottom end, another guy's teaching up this end, and then we're going to swap over. I think he's doing some first year stuff later in the week, and I'm doing the second year stuff in here. So that's it, that's the teaching facilities. The classrooms here, the library you've already seen. Tomorrow morning I'll show you what goes on in the chapel here. Okay, well, I'm here now with Slajan Milenkovic, who for the last 20 years has been the director of the Bible school here in Serbia. And I've got some questions for him just to get a bit more of the background and the vision and the plans for the future for the Bible school. So, Slajan, great to be with you. Tell us a little bit about the history of the Bible school and how it all started.
Okay, thank you so much, Steve. I'm really excited to share a little bit about our ministry. So it's been 20 years how this school started. In 1996, Sandy and Faye Mayo from the Great Britain, they come here to Serbia and they started the school and ministry here. And since then we have like more than 350 people who graduate the school, and mostly of those people are across this region sharing the gospel and doing great things around.
Wonderful. And has that always been the vision for the Bible school, to train people in that way?
Yes, first in the beginning, vision was to start with some Bible training program for new believers.
Right.
That was the vision. But in the very first year of the Bible school, vision was spread out for all churches across this region, because it was really in that period, it wasn't any Bible school operated on this former Yugoslavia country, so it was really huge need for the Bible training for new believers and for everyone who is interested to learn more about the mission, learn more about the books from the Bible, and then go after that and sharing the gospel here.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned other churches. Tell us a bit about the relationships that you have with other churches, because that's an important part of what you're doing here, isn't it?
Yes. This is interdenominational school, so we have but it's clearly evangelical. Mm-hmm. So we have from all churches, Christians that are coming here to the Bible school, which is not very much typical thing here in our region. Especially like churches is maybe not operated very much together, but here we make like a family of people who know Christ and coming here and sharing life together, learn together, and then going after the school. And they still, even like they are belonging to different churches, they still cooperate together and share ministry together and spread the gospel.
And that's quite a big commitment of time and travel, isn't it? Because so on a Sunday, tell us what you might do on an average Sunday.
Yes, average Sunday we just traveling to different churches. So like last Sunday we have like 3 different churches. Next Sunday also. So we visit churches with our students. We preach, share testimony, leading worship. So this is our ministry. How we want to be a service for churches. So we just listen what our church in Serbia, evangelical church, like all evangelical churches need, and we just try to listen their needs and to be for them to use our ministry to bless them. So we visit them, we work practical ministry, we send students there, and we receive their people, their believers, to get training here. So in different aspects, we just want to serve the church in Serbia.
So it's a focus almost on building the unity between those churches.
Absolutely, yes. This is our way. Then we really want to make something, bring something different in this region.
Now, and that seems to me like it's quite a lot to be going on with, but that's not all you do here. I've come across other activities that you're involved in. Can you tell us something about those things as well?
Yeah, we like during the summer we have different camps and activities here. So this place, this building, these facilities that we have here, it always is full with people, and our desire to use maximum or resource and everything what we have for the ministry. So during the summer we have different camps, and some of those camps we only host different organization in church. Then they can organize their activities here, and so we serve them, and also we organize activities. Then it's more like mission outreach activities to reach like new people, new believers for Christ. Like example, this last summer we have like 2 camps. One of those camps was a family retreat with children who are affected by disability, and another camp was a pediatric cancer camp for children and families whose child suffer with cancer. So they spend like 1 week here, 1 week retreat so we invite like volunteers or former students and people from churches to help us in volunteering, and then we just share love and care for those families. And this is like all of those families are non-Christian, but actually they coming in Christian environment and among Christians, and we serve them. And actually our desire is to do what would Jesus do, to see the people who are in needs, and yeah, this is what we do.
Now, this isn't it, right? I mean, you've got plans for the future. Tell us what you're hoping that God will do here in years to come.
Yes, it's 20 years how Bible school started, so our desire is to work more to help to build mission-oriented churches here in Serbia, like more churches to be encouraged to do more mission, or students to planting to go new places to plant new churches, and yeah, and for continue to build that relationship between churches and also between us and churches. So that's our desire, to like maybe in 10 years to see like even like more Christians, bigger churches, and more people who will hear the gospel. Yeah.
Hey Sajan, thanks so much for taking this time. I know you're busy today, you're heading off to Belgrade later on, so thank you for taking this time to talk. Just in case you're interested, I'm aware that a number of folks who are watching this video, you might not be at Emmanuel Evangelical Church, you might have just come across this on our website or elsewhere on the internet. If you would like to find out more about the Bible School, you can get in touch with us at Emmanuel Evangelical Church in Southgate, or you can get in touch with the Bible School via their website. If you find it hard to navigate the website, it's partly in Serbian, then don't worry, just get in touch with us, northlondonchurch.org. We can put you in touch with them, and then you can develop that contact as the Lord leads you. Thank you, Sajan. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Take care. We'll be praying for you.
Thank you.
Right, well, you've seen everything else. It now just remains for you to meet the students. And I'm sitting here with pretty much all the students. You can see them all here. And 4 of them have very kindly agreed to be interviewed so you can get to know them a little bit. So I've got one question for each of them. This is Marko, Sunčica, Sanja, and Petar. And sitting in the middle right there is Jelena, who is going to translate. I've got one question, and the question is, beginning with Marko, what has Hub given to you?
Ono što je klub učinio za mene jeste da
What the Hub has done for me,
sam učio dosta o Bogu,
I've learned a lot about God,
ono što mi je bilo potrebno.
what I needed,
Ovdje praksujem moju veru
and here I practice my faith,
i ovdje se uvećala moja ljubav
and here my love has grown
prema ljudima oko mene.
toward people around me,
I ono što ja sam primio od Boga ovdje,
and what I have received from God here,
ću da iz srca prenesem drugima kada se budem bio vratio kući.
pass on to others from my heart when I go back
I
home,
daći u praksu ono što sam naučio.
and I will practice what I have learned.
Wonderful. Sunčica, what have you gained from being at Hub?
Ja sam dobila to da naučim šta je pravi i živi odnos sa Bogom.
I gained to learn what the true relationship with God means,
Da je glavni cilj čoveka da zauvek proslavlja Boga
that the main aim for a human being to glorify God
i da zauvek uživa u njemu.
and forever to enjoy in Him.
That's great. Wonderful. Okay, Sanja, what have you gained from being at Hub?
Pa naučila sam da zapravo verujem Bogu
I've learned to trust God,
i da je On Bog koji ispunjava svoje obećanja,
that He's a
da je
God
veran
who
Bog.
fulfills His promises and He is faithful.
Naučila sam da budem odgovornija
I've learned to be more responsible,
i da zapravo Bog je taj koji će ispuniti sve ono što mi zapravo očekujemo i tražimo od njega i
and in
za
fact
duhovni rast,
God
za
will
naše duhovno stanje.
fulfill what we expect from Him and to help me in my spiritual growth.
Wonderful. Finally, Petar, what have you gained from being at Hub?
Hub. Hub mi je pružio duhovnu rehabilitaciju,
Who gave me spiritual
čvršći karakter i
rehabilitation,
nova poznanstva i prijateljstva.
firmer character, and new acquaintances and new friendships.
Great. I want to say as well, what a privilege it is for me to be here. Thank you to you guys. God bless you.